The Vikings and Carson Wentz end their trip overseas with a huge come-from-behind victory over the Browns, 21-17. And with that win, Carson Wentz might have just saved the Vikings' entire season. From Carson Wentz, that was such an unbelievable performance. It was just up and down all morning long. Early in the game, you're watching and they just go down the field. Offense clicking. You're like, whoa, they got something for the Browns. But then Wentz started getting a little bit reckless specifically. Now, he didn't turn the ball over. Got to mention that. But right before half, a couple of times, 2 straight possessions, he's rolling out to the left, running out of the pocket, close to first down yards, and he's just having full-on collisions with Browns players and this defense. And you're just like, man, Carson, it never changes for you. You're gonna keep running into these guys. And the only reason it became a concern, because he didn't fumble the ball, but he was in the medical tent. And then you wonder for the Vikings, like, did they just lose Carson Wentz? Are they about to start a 6th-round drafted rookie as their quarterback in London right now against this Browns defense? He definitely put himself in harm's way then. But after that, once that was over, I mean, Wentz was really, really good out there. He continued to find Justin Jefferson over and over again, throwing huge. He just kept giving Jettas chances to make plays, and Jettas was making those plays as one of the best receivers in the league. But it was really impressive. He was running the offense. We'll get to what OConnell was specifically doing to help him out. But that last drive, down 3, you lose that game. Now you come back from overseas at 2-3 with the bye week, but a game against the Eagles coming up. You can't feel good at 2-3, especially if you lose to the Browns. And the Browns are a solid team, but for the Vikings, the expectations were playoff contender, Super Bowl contender heading into the year, because they won 14 games last year. Now, maybe that's tempered a little bit, obviously, with no J.J. McCarthy and what we've seen of J.J. McCarthy. But 2-3 would have been a really bad position, specifically because the Lions and the Packers are in your division, and the NFC West looks crazy. So a wild card still does right now look kind of sketchy. But late in that game, Carson Wentz turned it around. Huge touchdown pass to Addison to win the game. Perfect play, on the money, great timing. And Wentz, he didn't lose that game. We've seen people go up against that. Well, really just Jordan Love go up against that Browns defense and implode. And a lot of other people. I mean, Joe Burrow had a bad night. The Browns kind of should have beat them. And that Browns defense can affect people. Now, while the Browns defense was great, Wentz was doing such a good job avoiding the pressure, much better than he did against the Steelers last week. And that was huge because one of my thoughts was the Browns D-line was just going to obliterate them. But Wentz was doing a good job moving in the pocket, continuing to keep some plays alive, not taking huge risks, and late in the game coming through to win that game. Obviously, I don't think they want Wentz to be their long-term starter. I don't think. For the rest of this season. But they needed him to get a win or 2 for McCarthy to come back, and he got that win, and that is huge for the Vikings. Numero 2, Kevin O'Connell. The scheme that he had coming into this game, to where he was just going to keep a lot of under center, a lot of quick hitting runs that didn't take long to develop. And what those did was the defense had to just pay attention to it. Because the Vikings can run the ball very well. And the Browns are one of the best run defenses. But once they started doing that, they started getting people isolated. started getting Jettas in some space, getting screen action, little quick flips out in space, PA fake crossers, and all that stuff. And it was very effective, and Wentz was running it great. But O'Connell on that first drive just boom, 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 quick down the field, caught the Browns off guard. And then they had Cam Akers, a wildcat, doing the fake run and then throwing it 30 yards for a touchdown. That schemed up 7 points. So needed for the Vikings. And they used the Browns' aggression against them. And that was really a theme that they were trying to go to all day. The Browns adjusted. But at the end of the game, they adjusted back, got down the field. And Kevin O'Connell, man, I mean, we've seen him do it with a lot of guys. Now, Darnold looks just like a stud, so he can't really say that that's him. But for him to do that with Wentz in these circumstances, we know the pressure building on Wentz, because they had to win this game, and he did it. So that's a big win. And I forgot to mention, Wentz is 2-1. He did beat the Bengals, even though I don't think that counts. It does count. So Wentz is 2-1 as a starter. But I think this game was much more challenging than the Bengals because it was going to be more. They would have had to score against a tough defense, and they did it, rather than Isaiah Rodgers becoming Deion Sanders for a night. Also very impressive from O'Connell to do this with injuries to the center and the left tackle. That offensive line has been beat up this year. And against the Browns D-line, again, you know the Browns were licking their chops, and they just didn't give them the opportunities to really fully tee off on Wentz, who is known to take sacks. Now, one thing, third down and looking forward for the Vikings, this running defense is a concern. They are not great at stopping the run. Really good at stopping the pass. They were, I believe, top 5 in stopping the pass heading into this week. However, the run defense has not been run defensing, and you saw it again. Judkins, he's a very, very good running back. He is 9th in the league in yards, solo as a player. But really, the Vikings were fortunate that Judkins didn't get a touchdown on one play with a holding. They didn't get a lot of other big plays because the Browns continued to grab. But we saw the Vikings, and there was no Van Ginkel out there. But we've seen the Vikings so far this year. They've been 24th in run defense. You kind of saw it again. Not even kind of. You definitely saw it again. It was the only way the Browns could move the ball. You know that the Browns were going to run the ball, and they ran it effectively. And so that is definitely a concern for the Vikings so far this year. Flores is great, and I know his passes defenses are great, but it's hard to fix a run defense because a lot of that comes to the D tackle play and the linebacker play. So I am very interested to see if the Vikings can adjust. And again, Van Ginkel coming back should probably help with that, of course. But that running defense seems to have some leaks in it, and the Vikings need to tighten that up. Next up for the Vikings, they have a bye week coming back from Europe. You deserve a bye, playing 2 games overseas, and then they play the Eagles. So we shall see what happens with them. And in that game, the Eagles right now are 4-1. They look like they could beat a lot of people and lose to a lot of people. Every game with them has been 1 score. And I saw a crazy stat that the Vikings in 1-score games have been great recently. But, you know, in those Kirk Cousins years, they were great. And last year, they won 14 games, in the regular season. And they did it again. So we'll see. O'Connell and Flores, they definitely give you a chance to win a lot of games. And for the Vikings, they just want to kind of stay afloat right now until they get J.J. McCarthy back and really see what they wanted their offense to look like for the rest of the season. Thank Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do weekly videos for each team. So we have playlists directed to your team and the week in the description. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, and most importantly, comment in that section. I'd love to talk to you guys about what you think about the videos, what could be improved, what I did right. Thank you again. Lumia Sports. Peace.